Afternoon. This regular meeting of the Leon County Board of County Commissioners is called to order at 3:01 p.m. on October 12th, 2021. It is now time for the invocation. Is Pastor Ledford here? Pastor Holmes. We're honored to have Pastor Holmes in the house. I don't mean to put you on the spot, sir, but would you be so kind as to deliver our invocation today? Or if you like, we can have Vice Chair Proctor. He's heard it quite a bit too. So,
Vice Chair more powerful than I am. His prayers get somewhere.
I defer to the pastor.
Thank you, Pastor. Shall we pray? God of peace, hope, justice, and healing, we come now to thank you for this day and to praise you for your hand of mercy. Thank you for the county administrator, his boldness, his courage, and commitment to health care for all. Thank you for our chairman and vice chairman and the good members of this Board of Commissioners. Bless them and their staff and their families with good health and good success. And bless this county government and the people of this great county. Continue to keep us safe from danger seen and unseen. In your powerful name, Lord, we do pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you very much, Vice Chair Proctor. Pastor Holmes, thank you again, sir, very much. All right. Commissioners, we are now at awards and presentations. Mr. County Administrator, would you please introduce the first presentation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, we have a presentation on the Leon County Research and Development Authority and Innovation Park, and I believe we do have Ron Miller here at the lectern. Ron, the floor is yours.
Thank you, County Administrator, Commissioners. It's great to be back here finally after a while. I know I've briefed a lot of you individually at times, but great things are happening at Innovation Park. I know you've seen a lot of the pieces and parts as they flow through the commissions and the intergovernmental agency. But what I wanted to do is just sort of paint the picture on how these parts are starting to fit together. So you've seen recently the announcement about Danfoss and their expansion. You've seen the North Florida Innovation Labs, and you've probably heard about the Interdisciplinary Research and Commercialization Building for FSU. All of these things have been in process for a very long time, and they're starting to come to fruition. The first item I want to talk about is a very important project that we've been working on for a very long time, the business incubator at Innovation Park, the North Florida Innovation Labs. It is a 2-story, 40,000 square foot building. We expect to break ground in March of 2022, and we're required to be done by September of 2023 according to the EDA grant. Now, I don't expect you to be able to see these floor plans in detail, but I wanted to give you a sense of what's all here. This is here to support early stage companies that need very unique resources. This is not just a bunch of office space. In this case, on the first floor, we have flex labs where people can actually build things, early stage companies that need that kind of space. We have places to do prototype developments. We do have offices. We have a total of 24 offices on 2 stories. We have some multi-purpose space, conference rooms, huddle rooms, break rooms, and importantly, a loading dock. But here's the real kicker here. We have chemistry labs, biology labs, dry labs, cell culture labs, places where you can do pharmaceutical development, autoclave rooms, and other unique spaces. We were fortunate to be able to get a lot of federal funding for this. As you all know from the intergovernmental agency, we took $2.5 million that was awarded to us and leveraged that into now almost $20 million. So it's been a phenomenal process in trying to raise these funds. We're dealing with cost increases on construction, as everyone knows. So we haven't stopped trying to raise funds, but we'll keep working on that. In the meantime, while we're trying to get this thing open, we're working on building a pipeline of companies that will go into this incubator. And right now we're using one of our existing buildings, the Collins Building. We have 2,500 square foot of lab space there, and we have some tenants in there already. 5 members of this that are occupying most of that space. We only have a couple of lab benches left, but we can still support other companies. We are trying to leverage other funds. We have $35,000 grant. We bought some shared lab equipment, but we're taking the ARPA dollars that we received, and we are starting training, incubation, and marketing programs to try to attract more companies to take advantage of some of these services. We're also leveraging some of our relationships with FAMU to work on some of the projects that they're getting funded for. And finally, we've created a nonprofit called Innovation Park TLH Inc. that will be used to raise some other funds to help support the program once it opens. So Danfoss, as you all know, over 200 jobs. We just approved their site plan this morning. 207,000 total square feet under roof, 3 stories, 15 acres, and that is expected to be completed in October of 2023. The FSU Interdisciplinary Research and Commercialization Building, another 116,000 square feet, starting in April of 2022 and to be completed in the spring of 2024. So you can see there are 3 projects over 350,000 square feet that will be under construction between now and the spring of 2024. And we also have some assistance that we provide for supporting local organizations. We've worked with CareerSource Capital Region to help them with their administrative offices. We worked quickly with FSU and Tallahassee Memorial Hospital to provide them with lab space. When COVID first hit, they've created a COVID testing lab at Innovation Park. We are working on collaborating for the future. We took $200,000 of the Juggernaut funds that we received, and we're investing those in office space renovations to help support more organizations. And you can see there's just so much more that we're doing. And very importantly is the Airport Gateway Project. That is going to raise the visibility of Innovation Park to all of those who visit Tallahassee and make it very accessible. And finally, I just want to make a pitch for our pitch night, the Innovation Park 2021 Tech Grant Pitch Night. That's our attempt to help some early stage companies with funding. That competition will be via Zoom on a webinar format on next week, October 21st. I invite you to go online and register for that event. And you can see the link there, or just go to our website. That is all.
Mr. Miller, thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Mr. Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ron, thank you for a great presentation. Every time I see the rundown, and this is probably your most succinct rundown of what's happening at Innovation Park, it really signals how much we said we were going to do for a long time, and now it's actually happening. We built that foundation, and now, I mean, that just 3 buildings with 350,000 square feet, you said, in the next couple of years? That's significant. But I wanted to ask one question, Mr. Chair, that really has helped me wrap my mind around this, because you heard a lot of terminology, wet labs, dry labs. You rattled off a lot of things there, and for those of us who don't work in those spaces, we might not have a visual, right? But this is the first location where those businesses, startup businesses, can work in Leon, Tallahassee that we've ever had. I think we don't have another space like that, between Pensacola and Gainesville. Is that right?
That's correct. And we've actually lost companies who have left Tallahassee to go to other locations to access those kind of facilities. And since I started in 2012, we've had people continuously come through the door looking for those kinds of spaces.
Thank you. So this was, Mr. Chair, I think this is really significant that we have people who've grown up here, who've attended the universities, but I'm also thinking of Sensec, where came out of Embry-Riddle and out of Marines. Those folks want to build businesses here in Leon, Tallahassee, but they can't because they don't have this space. And so we're going to capture more of those companies. It's going to be really significant. So Thank you very much, and looking forward to the pitch night. That's always fun.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Miller, thank you for everything that you're doing. We need to do, the community, the county, we all need to do a better job of making sure everyone hears the work that you're doing. It's a really promising, encouraging effort. So thank you for everything that you and your team are doing. Anything else, commissioners? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mr. County Administrator, would you please introduce the next presentation while I make my way to the podium?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you're making your way there, again, this is a proclamation recognizing October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month to be presented by Chairman Minor.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. County Administrator. Just one thing in case people might be following along with the agenda. EMT Lee Kendall could not be with us. He had a scheduling conflict. So we're going to go ahead and schedule that proclamation at a different time. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk about our proclamation to recognize October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Two of my longtime friends, whom I love very much, were recently diagnosed with breast cancer, and today they are bravely fighting it every step of the way. I'm wishing them the best and praying for speedy recoveries. These two brave women are two examples of why each year Leon County renews its commitment to supporting the prevention, detection, and treatment of breast cancer. I'll read this proclamation on behalf of the entire County Commission. Whereas October 2021 marks 36 years that National Breast Cancer Awareness Month has educated women about early breast cancer detection, diagnosis, and treatment. And whereas in 2018, 178 women were diagnosed with breast cancer in Leon County, and 41 women died from the disease in 2019. Whereas 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer within their lifetime, and whereas breast cancer is the second most common form of cancer and the second leading cause of cancer death for women in the United States. And whereas with routine mammogram screening and follow-up testing, breast cancer can be detected early when it can be more effectively treated. And whereas being aware of the health information, education, treatment, and support available for individuals with breast cancer can help people receive appropriate care and resources to improve their quality of life. And whereas Leon County is renewing its commitment to supporting prevention, detection, and treatment of breast cancer. And whereas Leon County encourages people to recognize that breast cancer is treatable and that routine screening and early detection can save lives. And whereas the American Cancer Society has searched endlessly for a cure through vital research and has the mammoth task of educating our community and all Americans of the risk of breast cancer. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners in Leon County do hereby proclaim October 2021 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Leon County and ask all citizens to join in this worthwhile cause to celebrate successes and memorialize lost battles. So, thank you all very much. For our next proclamation, this is in recognition of a very special community leader, one who has served as an administrator at Bethel Christian Academy for 21 years and has provided inspiration to many people in this community. If Dr. Gloria Holmes would please join me. And also Commissioner Cummings, would you like to join me, ma'am? All right, on behalf of the entire County Commission, whereas Bethel Christian Academy was established in 1992 under the auspices of Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend Dr. R.B. Holmes Jr., pastor, as an outreach to the community, serving children from kindergarten to 8th grade, and whereas Dr. Gloria P. Holmes has been an administrator at Bethel Christian Academy since 1999 and has dedicated her life and work to the educational and spiritual development of the students of Bethel Christian Academy, and whereas Dr. Gloria P. Holmes is a graduate of Spelman College, Atlanta, Georgia, received her master's degree in library science from the University of Michigan, and her doctorate degree in information studies from Florida State University. And whereas she began her career as an English teacher in Jacksonville, Florida, served as a library media specialist, became the director of educational media for both Duval and Leon County Public Schools, and she was selected as assistant dean in the College of Education at Florida A&M University. And whereas Dr. Gloria P. Holmes holds life membership in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., and memberships in Kappa Delta Pi, an honor society in education, Beta Phi Mu, the International Library Science Honor Society, Phi Kappa Phi, an honor society of the best and brightest from all academic disciplines, and Phi Delta Kappa International, an organization committed to educational development and student success. I haven't read that many Greek letters since college. Whereas Dr. Gloria P. Holmes has given inspiration to so many men, women, boys, and girls who are in need of a role model, she has a unique ability to positively impact people from all walks of life in a gentle and caring way. And whereas the naming and dedication of the Media Center at Bethel Christian Academy in Tallahassee, Florida, in her honor, represents excellence, commitment, achievement, leadership, and service. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Leon County, Florida, that we hereby salute and recognize Dr. Gloria Price Holmes in this great recognition of her commitment and dedication to excellence in education by the naming of the Dr. Gloria P. Holmes Media Center at Bethel Christian Academy. Dated this 12th day of October, 2021, and signed by the Board of County Commissioners.
So she's the smart one in the family.
Commissioner Cummings, would you like to say a few words?
Can you pull it down?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Ms. Holmes, Dr. Gloria Price Holmes, on behalf of the commission, in addition to what the chairperson has read in the proclamation, we certainly salute you, we congratulate you, we honor you for all the great work you have done in the area of educating our children. And we see her footprints all over this state, nation, and world as far as the children that she has educated. So we certainly thank you, we love you, and may God bless you.
To God be the glory. I give all praise and glory to God our Father and our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank each of you, the Board of County Commissioners, for this wonderful and great honor. I obviously thank, in a very special way, Commissioner Carolyn Cummings for recommending me, but then for you to agree. So I am blessed, and may God continue to bless each of you to carry on the great work for the citizens of Leon County. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Yes.
I just want to say, as an educator, Dr. Mrs. Holmes, thank you for your dedication to education. I think everybody, not everyone realizes how hard it is to be a teacher, to be an educator, and folks like myself who are in classrooms every day. I was in a classroom today till 1 o'clock, stand on the shoulders of folks like yourself. So I want to say thank you personally for all your work. And secondly, Mr. Chair, I did want to note, as we recognize Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October, all politics and policy aside, I did want to make note and send our prayers and well wishes to our First Lady across the street, who we found out this month has been diagnosed with breast cancer. My grandmother has endured and survived breast cancer. And everything else aside, I think we all can appreciate and send our prayers to the First Lady. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you, sir, for your proclamation.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Welch. Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to take an opportunity to thank the Holmes family for not just doing what they did for education, but doing it in the place that they did it. Everyone in Leon County knows that a lot of the growth and the improvement that happened in Frenchtown as a result of Bethel Missionary Baptist Church really pushing the agenda on that, and I really appreciate it. It's not just, again, what you're doing, it's where you're doing it and the lives that you're touching while you're doing it. So continue to push forward with that. Continue to be the influence that you've been in that area and inspiration as well. And as much as we can help you along that path, we're willing to help you, because that neighborhood and those folks that live in that neighborhood deserve the best. of what we have to offer in Leon County. So thank you for putting forth the effort.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of our community. I believe that when the dust settles on the careers of Dr. Holmes and Reverend Dr. Holmes, we're going to be hard pressed to find a dynamic couple who has contributed in the spheres of education, religious excellence, economic development, communications, and just a plethora of new standards, new heights have been attained in the more than 3 decades of which they have served as a team to our community. So it's been said behind every great man is a greater lady, and that could go reciprocally with this dynamic team. And I'm just pleased to have stood with a front row seat to the awesome productivity of a team that was so well synchronized. Many more years to use to add to the great legacy. And I want to say that my son was a beneficiary and an attendant of Bethel Christian Academy at a critical time in his development. And I thank you all for its availability to Jordan. To these members of the commission who are the beneficiaries of the spiritual injections on the frequent, you definitely probably operating with some advantages because Reverend Holmes is a tremendous spiritual teacher. So to your legacy, may God continue to bless you.
Any other comments, commissioners? All right. Dr. Holmes, congratulations, man. Pastor Holmes. Great to have both of you here. All right. Yes, Commissioner Maddox.
I hesitate to do it, but ma'am, in the front row there, out of respect for everybody else here, could you pull up your mask, please?
I can't breathe with it on.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Maddox. If the commission will indulge me for just a moment, we do have the Florida Department of Health here, which Ms. Claudia Blackburn is here to accept the proclamation proclaiming October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So let's go do that. If anyone would like to join me, you're welcome to come down. It's up to you all. It's up to you guys. County Administrator, seeing there are no other awards or presentations, we'll move on to consent. I do understand there's some speakers that would like to speak on one of the consent items. As a matter of policy. Oh, that's right. We do have another presentation. I'm sorry. Very important one. Mr. County Administrator, would you please introduce the next presentation?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your final presentation on this portion of the agenda is our update from our health director, who is here in person, Claudia Blackburn.
Good afternoon, commissioners. I I will give you a brief update on where we are with COVID-19. So the positivity rate for Leon County for the week ending October the 7th was 4.6%. So we're under 5%, and this is about the same as, yes, applause. This is about the same as the state rate, which was 4.8% for that period. And, we're looking for this to hold and to continue to go down. And so we look forward to the report on Friday. In the week ending October the 7th, there were 35 hospital admissions, and on the week ending October the 8th, unfortunately, there were 13 deaths. Community transmission is still high based on our cases per 100,000, and I'll be talking a little bit about, what's recommended to protect ourselves and our community members from COVID, and things, the recommendations have not changed at this point. I'll be going over those. I've talked before about testing. We do encourage people who are exposed to COVID or who have signs and symptoms of COVID to get tested. It's free, it's available. We have 2 locations, one at 2965 Municipal Way, another at the Jackson Library Complex, Huntington Oaks. It's 3840 North Monroe Street. Those sites are open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're drive-through, very efficient. And FAMU, of course, is open Monday through Saturday from 8 to 4. That's on Wanish Way. And then the pharmacies also have COVID testing available. Our vaccination rate hasn't really changed much in the last few weeks. We're at 60%. And if you look at the CDC data, it says that we're at 57.5% of the eligible population, that's 12 plus, that are fully vaccinated. The CDC's numbers are a little bit different than the state numbers because they use a different denominator for population. But looking at the CDC, we're about 50% of the total population fully vaccinated. I have talked before about the recommendation for an additional dose of COVID-19 mRNA vaccinations for people who are immunocompromised. That's been going on for a few weeks now. And so I just want to remind people that if they fall into this category, they should definitely be getting their 3rd dose. And then a couple of weeks ago, the Pfizer booster dose was approved and recommended by the CDC for a variety of groups. So it is recommended 6 months after the primary series of Pfizer-BioNTech COVID vaccination for people that are 65 years of age and older, for people that are 18 to 49 with underlying conditions, people that are 18 to 64 that are at increased risk for exposure, and then occupations that are at increased risk for exposure and transmission. There's a lot more detail about these groups on the health department website, but in general, if you got the primary series of Pfizer and it's been over 6 months, look to see if it's time to get your booster dose. It will significantly increase your immune response from what we understand. Also wanted to remind people who are high risk and have been exposed to COVID or who have COVID and are, within the first week or so of being diagnosed, that monoclonal antibody treatment is available for free at Sears at the Governor Square Mall and also at CDR Health Tallahassee, which is on Capitol Circle Northeast. In those, it is very important if you are at high risk, or if you even think you are, you can consult with your physician, but you can refer yourself to these sites to get the treatment. And it reduces severe illness by about 80%. So we really encourage people in the early stages of COVID to get treated. As I said, the recommendations have not changed at this point. We will certainly let you know if they do, but right now masks are still recommended for people who are fully vaccinated, not fully vaccinated, when they're in an indoor area, and especially if you're in an area that has high transmission, as we do right now. Also, social distancing. You want to avoid close contact with people who are sick and stay about 6 feet away from other people who don't live in your household as much as possible. And then, of course, washing your hands for 20 seconds, especially after you've been in a public place or after blowing your nose, coughing, or sneezing. It's also, I just want to put a plug in for flu vaccinations. We are recommending that everybody 6 months and up receive their influenza vaccination by the end of October. We don't know what this flu season is going to look like. If you're hearing predictions, I'm not sure how they're deciding how to predict, but it is a very simple thing you can do to protect yourself. It can make the flu, if you get the flu, it can make that illness milder and reduce the risk of more serious outcomes. And it's especially important for people over 65, people under 5, pregnant women, and people with underlying medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. I just wanted to talk really quickly about some of the outreach that we've been doing, education about getting vaccinated against COVID, also about all the mitigation measures that we've talked about, what you can do to protect yourself against COVID. We have provided, this is in the last month, we have provided, our staff has provided education and outreach at 5 barbershops and hair salons, at 4 public housing complexes, 6 restaurants, 3 motels, and then we are working with community partners to provide education and coordinate vaccinations at health fairs. And we have a long list of partners that we work with on a routine basis. This isn't everything, but because we also just incorporate COVID education into all of the health education and outreach and health promotion that we do. But we do have a number of partners that we work closely with, and we're continuing on, despite the fact that I think people are just tired of talking about COVID, hearing about COVID. It's still our job to protect the public, and we're doing everything that we can to make that happen. So that's my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
Ms. Blackburn, thank you very much, as always. In the speaker's queue, I've got Commissioner Dozier. Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have heard updates. You've been giving us updates for a year and a half. And this is the first time we had people cheer in the audience, and all of us. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to recognize that, Mr. Chair. I mean, we've all been waiting for good news. We got some good news in the spring, and then it got really rough again. So I guess that's where I wanted to start. I still, and I've said it before, I think we've all said it, how much we appreciate everyone in the community, what you've done, what all those partner organizations have done to really keep us moving forward. But the individual choices to take care of ourselves, take care of others is just really significant. To drop below that 5%. And that's really you've told us before, the CDC kind of benchmark is 5%. They really want to see us under that number. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. That is fantastic. I also took note in some of the reporting in the last couple of days. I think maybe Dr. Fauci made some comments over the weekend that people will get to celebrate Halloween this year, really getting out, and I hope everyone does it safely, but it really feels good to see people starting to get back out again and things are open. On my only question, Mr. Chair, and this may be something that we could hear in our next presentation, if Mr. Chair, I mean, you and the county administrator were to agree, but I'd like to know a little bit more about our efforts on vaccines. We're holding the 60%. That's a good number. And I know, Mr. County Administrator, there's been a lot of work with the task force, but we've had updates the last few meetings from you, Claudia, of what you and your staff are doing. So I'm just wondering if we can dig into that aspect a little bit more in our next presentation. And I'd just love to hear what efforts the task force is making. And they had some new programs coming online, I think, to focus on youth. Is that right, Mr. Chair, if I could ask the County Administrator?
Mr. County Administrator.
That's correct, and we'll do that in the next presentation. We'll include all of that.
Okay, thank you very much. And I guess within that, you mentioned flu shots, but we keep hearing that we could see authorization for kids, if it's 5 or 6, to 12 for that group. Really hoping that comes on soon, but of course, if that came before our next meeting and that update, I think we'd probably love to hear more about that as well. Good. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Dozier. And we've got almost a full house here. We've got Commissioner Welch, then Commissioner Jackson, Vice Chair Proctor, and Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be very brief. Claudia, thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to ask quickly about the CDR health site on Capitol Circle. Is that free for the monoclonal antibody as well? Okay, and people can kind of make their own appointments and all that?
That's my understanding.
Okay, that's awesome. And so at under 5%, are we no longer an area of high transmission?
We are still an area of high transmission. They actually look at two different criteria. One of them is the positivity rate, and the other is cases per 100,000. And we were at 121 cases per 100,000 for the last 7 days, and they're looking at being under 100 to take us down to the next level.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I think that's important.
Thank you, Commissioner Welch. Got Commissioner Jackson, Vice Chair Proctor, and then Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to give a shout out to you as well, Claudia. So if I'm repeating the accolades, you deserve them. So thank you for being so on top. Every time I have a question, I call you. If you don't have the answer in the moment, you always return the call. Also want to point out our great partners. We had a vaccination and food distribution event put on by Bethel Baptist out in the Fort Braden community, and are truly grateful. Over 200 people were tested in our community on that day, as well as a group of, I believe 46 vaccinations were administered. And then also took care of almost 200 families, providing them food from Second Harvest, a great partner. You mentioned Municipal Way. I got a firsthand experience with that last week. It is unbelievably convenient, expedient, and even PCR results were back to my daughter within 24 hours. I can't say enough about the job they're doing out there at Municipal Way. Leon County Schools also has a program with all Title I schools where Compass is being offered in communities that are adjacent to public schools, where families and students can go to have testing done, both rapid and PCR. A phenomenal effort by Leon County. Can't say enough about. We have put our money where our mouth is as far as testing and vaccinations. And we still have a ways to go on vaccinations, we know. But we are making headway, even if it is small steps at a time. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. I just wanted to say that credit for the efficiency of those testing sites goes to Nomi Health, because they are independent and they run those sites, and I'll pass it on. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. Vice Chair Proctor, and then Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, Commissioners, when I served as Special Assistant to Governor Lawton Chiles, our effort to work with communities that there may have been disagreement with our absence of understanding, with a concerted effort to be in harmony with a progressive plan to uplift and sustain health, safety, and welfare of the community. The Governor's General Counsel, Dexter Douglas, probably would have reached out to a city attorney or a county attorney for points of resolution. To just be fined $3-4 million because you don't do what I say in an area of policy is unheard of. It's an approach that is barbaric. It does not strive for the unity of a state to simply start firing off monetary demands. We should have negotiation or meeting where there are differences with the state's policy on health. And I take opportunity to support, to endorse the efforts of a community of which we have charge of, in part, to raise the bar of health standards for our community. And it's not our fault if other communities don't want to live and coexist to the altitudes of caring and putting active steps to bring everybody along safely. That ain't our fault. But our charge to keep is that we put our hands in the air and another hand on the Bible and said we would try to uphold the Constitution of Florida and the one of the United States. And we're constitutional officers, and we have in that power a right to be self-determined and to be autonomous units of the state, of which we do not have to succumb, and the governor does not dictate to us. And it's conflictual for me that the State Department of Health is here telling us, and I think the State Department of Health through Ms. Blackburn is doing the very best that she can. But it's hard for me to hear this report and somebody is shooting millions of dollars of fines at us for trying to do a job that we put our hands in the air and our hands on the Bible to say, there's very few people take a job and put their hand on the Bible to say, I'm gonna try to do it. You can even get married and ain't got to put your hand on the Bible. But we got a job that you got to put your hand on the Bible to take. To sit up here. And we done that. And to get fined for that, it frustrates me. So, with all due respect to the report Ms. Blackburn has given, and in a clouded atmosphere which she sought to give leadership, I just salute you, Ms. Blackburn, for your efforts. We thank you.
Thank you.
But you represent the state, and you represent Leon County, and we should be the same. But my county is being fined money for doing what we believe to be right, and as constitutional officers, to act within that authority. So, I salute our staff, I salute our commission, and I pray with our hands placed on a Bible that we will not capitulate and bow down to Baal. This is not the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Proctor. Commissioner Cummings, to wrap it up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also share the sentiments of my fellow commissioners, Ms. Blackburn. I applaud you and your group and all the community volunteers and the community groups that have worked with you during this pandemic. There are so many groups out in the community I think that we have to thank for stepping forward and making sure that our people have access so that they can receive the vaccine. But since Reverend Holmes is here, I just want to applaud him for being the chair of the statewide vaccination unit. Okay, all right. Thank you. And he's the chair of the statewide task force. So not just Leon County, but we are concerned about all of our people becoming vaccinated. And I also just want to applaud the fact that Bethel Baptist Church purchased a mobile unit specifically to go to the neighborhoods, to go to the people, and make sure that they are vaccinated. You know, we've had a lot of vaccine hesitancies here in Leon County. And so it takes all of us to make a positive difference, which brings us to your report today. We know a couple of months ago, our positivity rate was up over 20, over 25. And I'm just very elated that today it's below 5. And I can recall a few weeks ago, Commissioner Dozier, where we had a call meeting so that we could look at COVID-19 and see what we could do to address it, to address the adverse effects, to help our people. And Commissioner Dozier asked specifically, what can we do? What can we do? So I'm encouraged by the below 5 positivity rate, but my question is, and I'm not sure if you all have looked at it, but we've gone from above 20 to below 5. And I think you've reported that as far as the vaccination rate is concerned, it doesn't account for the decrease in the positivity rate. So my question is anybody looking at why we're now below 5, and is it something that we can pattern, something we can adopt, something we can do so that we stay below 5 and not upsurge to over 20?
It's a great question. I wish I had the answer. I listen to the experts and the experts that have been in public health for over 40 years, and they've had international experience, and really, you know, we have to be humble about this. We honestly don't understand all of this. It seems that when the vaccination rate is higher, that the rates are lower, but I think we're still looking at that. Certainly, it seems to affect the hospitalization and death rate, but again, I think we're waiting for additional information to be able to answer that question, you know, with confidence. We don't completely understand this virus. We're all growing and learning as it unfolds, and doing our very best to do what we know to do and keep moving forward. So.
If I could just follow up, Mr. Chair, and I echo Commissioner Proctor when he said he recognizes that Ms. Blackburn and the Health Department is doing what it can, and I recognize that as well. But I think it's important that we continue to receive the updates. I want to thank our county administrator, because he gives us weekly updates, and sometimes in between the weeks it just depends on the urgency of it. So I want to thank County Administrator and his staff for keeping us abreast.
Patty, so how's that review looking of the?
So thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I want to be sure that I'm not leaving the impression that getting vaccinated is no longer important. It is still critically important, because there will probably be another surge. We don't know what's coming next, but we want our population to be as protected as humanly possible. And vaccination is really important to make that happen. So I just want to make sure that I'm making that point. And thank you so much for your comments. And also a shout out to the Health Department team, because I can sit here and report on the work, but they're the ones doing all the work. And they're awesome. And you all are awesome for your leadership. And I really appreciate the county and all the support we get from the county every day. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Ms. Blackburn. One final speaker on this, Commissioner Dozier, to wrap it up.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Obviously, Commissioner Proctor, Commissioner Cummings have mentioned the mandate, and we have seen some new information come in today. I assume that, Madam County Attorney, you would bring this up under your time. I wondered if there was an opportunity to talk about it now in the context of this discussion, or if we would rather wait until comment time at the end.
Mr. County Administrator.
Or Mr. Chair, yeah, if there was a reason to wait, I should say.
I'm sorry, who's your question? I was looking at my notes. Who's the question?
Mr. Chair, I mean, I don't know, because the discussion has already been, or the issue's already been raised, and it's part of COVID mitigation. I just wondered if now might be a good time to finish that conversation, or if the county attorney would rather wait until comment time at the end of the meeting.
Madam County Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to address it now or wait till my time, whichever the board prefers.
It's up to the will of the board. My preference is to do it
Mr. Chair,
later on, but but it's up to the will of the board, whatever the consensus is. Commissioner,
part, Mr. Chair, I would just
Go ahead.
say, because I didn't reference it in my comments because I thought we would be discussing it later, but it is germane to this conversation, and we could just work through the issue now and then move on with the rest of the meeting.
real quick comments. Commissioner Maddox and then Commissioner Welch.
Mr. Chair, I think this conversation that we're about to have is probably going to be a more robust one. And quite frankly, I would be on the other end of it and prepare, and prefer that the county attorney introduce it later and during her comments, and we have a full discussion about it at that time. I believe that anything that we do at this moment will have to still be unanimous in order for us to do anything. So I think we should get on with the agenda and probably wait, understanding that a piece of it has been touched on here, but not the piece that the county attorney can bring to us. So I would prefer that we just hold off for a second and have that conversation at the end of the agenda.
That's my preference too. Commissioner Welch?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. I just want to say the same thing. I feel like if I'm a layman and I'm looking at this agenda at home and it says county attorney time at the end of the agenda, that's when I would expect to have this conversation. So I would just suggest that's what we do. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Welch, thank you. I think there's a general consensus, maybe a majority at least, that we continue with the agenda as it's posted. Okay, thank you all very much. Ms. Blackburn, thank you very much to you and everyone at the Florida Department of Health in Leon County. I'm very grateful to you and for all your efforts. So, all right, moving on to the consent agenda. Vice Chair Proctor, you are recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I move consent with the exception of items 4 and 12 be passed.
Okay. A motion to approve consent without items number 4 and number 12 has been made by Vice Chair Proctor and seconded by Commissioner Welch. All those in favor of the motion?
Wait, 1 point. Mr. Chair, real quick, just for parliamentary procedure here, Madam Attorney, what's our policy when it comes to pulled items?
I'm so sorry, what was your question?
What's our policy when it comes to pulling an item? Can we do it in the spot? And is it just a simple majority? If we do so, do we have a policy in place? If not, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, Board Policy 1-5 does state that a commissioner is supposed to request an item be pulled 24 hours before the meeting.
Okay, so just to be in the right order, I would recommend, Commissioner Proctor, that you, I guess, relinquish, just get rid of that motion. Let's go ahead and make a motion to waive policy, and then you make the motion. Would that be right order, Madam Attorney?
Yes.
I don't have a problem with it. I just want to be in right order, Commissioner Proctor. So if you could get rid of that motion and then ask that we waive policy,
Yep.
and then we go from there.
Yeah, Commissioner Maddox, thank you very much. It's a good point. Vice Chair Proctor, would you want to do that, sir?
Mr. Chairman, I rescind the motion. Instead, I offer the motion that we suspend, is it C-195? What was it?
Madam County Attorney.
Policy number 1-05.
Okay, 1-05, that we would waive that for purposes of reviewing agenda item number 4 and number 12, which previously were not pulled within 24 hours of today's meeting.
Commissioner Welch, would you withdraw your second? All right, thank you very much, Commissioner Welch. Is there a second for the motion that Vice Chair Proctor has just issued?
Second.
Just offered. Commissioner Welch has seconded the motion. All in favor of the motion to waive the policy as stated by Vice Chair Proctor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Vice Chair Proctor.
Thank you, Commissioners. The urgency of this matter to pull the American Rescue Plan.
Wait, before you do that, Commissioner Proctor, go ahead and make the motion for
Yep.
consent, pulling items 4 and 12.
Okay.
Then we can.
Chairman, Commissioners, I offer the motion that we pull from consent items 4 and 12.
All right, motion's been made by Vice Chair Proctor to pull from the consent agenda items 4 and 12, seconded by Commissioner Cummings. All those in favor of the motion?
Mr. Chair. Commissioner Proctor, could you amend your motion to include the passing or the approval of the rest of consent?
We can combine it or do it separate. You think we should combine it?
Just combine it.
Okay, let's combine
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Commissioner Cummings, would you agree to that as a seconder? Vice Chair Proctor would like to add to his motion the approval of the remaining consent agenda items aside from number 4 and number 12. Okay, great. So everyone understand the motion? All right, all in favor of the motion stated by Vice Chair Proctor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Thank you, Vice Chair Proctor. All right, Vice Chair Proctor, you are recognized on consent item number 4.
Commissioners, you know, item number 4 is a review of the American Rescue Plan supplemental money. Point blank, we're receiving, in my opinion, far less money. I'd like for us to ask our county staff to go get some more money. And I don't understand how, out of the billions of dollars, we are receiving $13,926 for one piece, and some other total for our federal emergency management grants. We've got a joint total of 196. For the amount of money on the table, our community has not gotten enough. I think that we should re-extend the ask, examine what is occurring. The state's capital, aside from the fact that we are predominantly blue, yet we should not be treated like this. And I'm asking for board commitment and consent that our staff can review what has happened. We're simply, and then the other kicker in this is that to get this $196,000, our county has to agree for $1 to dollar match. Now, consider, if the state wants to grant us some money, we shouldn't have to be able to pay a whole dollar for dollar to get theirs. What about a little county that don't have $25,000 to spare and can't get the other people's $25,000, but they got to come up with $1? This is some money we may not even be able to afford to get. A grant from our state, they're like your daddy saying, I will give you an allowance for $25 this week if you got $1 to match every dollar I'm about to give you. And if a kid ain't got $25 in their pocket and their daddy sitting there talking about, I'm going to give you, I'll give it to you, but you got to already have it and match me. This needs to be, this is oppressive when we are in need of relief. And if you need $196,000, if we had it, we wouldn't need their money. So the methodology here should be either rejected. Can we afford it? Do we have $196,000 that we can? And it's just the formula, commissioners, that I desire that we ask staff on those bases of this formula that requires us to already have money to get some, and we got to have the same amount. We're the ones in need. We're the ones in need relief. And they raise this bar. It places a chilling effect on counties to not accept this kind of money. And I think this rule is something that is arbitrary and capricious. So I'm asking and love to hear your feedback.
Thanks, Vice Chair Proctor. I've got Commissioner Maddox and then Commissioner Dozier. Commissioner Maddox.
Commissioner Proctor, I do agree. I've been a part of a lot of grants that have dollar for dollar matches in my day. And oftentimes I've wondered, why can't you just give me the money? But the opportunity to double the money is very good as well. So I agree with the premise of what you're saying, but I've seen this happen before in other grants. So that because of that, I'm totally in agreement with staff recommendation to go ahead and accept this grant and double the money. I believe there's been other things we've done in the past. Now, if we want to complain about doubling the money, we can do that in another way. But right now, I think I'm going to go ahead and make the motion for. Well, actually, before I do that, let me understand exactly what you're asking us to do, Commissioner Proctor.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and there are grants that you have $1 for dollar, a road project, a construction effort, those kinds of things. This right here is emergency when you down and out, when you was down on your back. The category for which a $1 for dollar is being requested, it shouldn't be on this category for relief. Now, if we're doing, building a new stadium, the state says, oh yeah, we'll support it if y'all come up with every dollar. But when you're sick and your community is ill, you don't have it. It's just the wrong category to put that kind of standard on. So if we're going to be equitable and fair. It stresses a community that would already be stressed under dynamics which they've not planned or contemplated under this emergency situation. That's the point.
So,
Commissioner Maddox, you still have the floor, but let me go ahead and recognize the county administrator who might have a couple of comments to help with our deliberations here, if you don't mind.
okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, just in the interest of helping to clarify, don't get me wrong, I certainly agree with everything Commissioner Proctor said about the additional dollars, and we certainly welcome any of that. But Commissioners, you probably recall from this item that this is an item that we bring to you each year at this time. It's a formulaic item based on population. It requires a dollar-for-dollar match each year, and we budget for that. And this year, the only piece of it that's a little different is that there are some additional ARPA dollars included that are passed through for this categorical funding for emergency management. This, of course, is in addition to the over $60 million that we've already received in ARPA dollars as a direct pass-through. But again, just to provide clarification there, this is a formulaic grant, one that we budget and receive each year. This item is just to accept, as we do each year, this funding as well as the additional $13,000 in funding from ARPA. So again, Mr. Chairman, just wanted to provide that clarification.
Thank you, Mr. County Administrator.
Move that
Commissioner Maddox.
recommendation.
All right, all those in favor of the motion? I still have in the queue, motions been made by Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Commissioner Dozier. Commissioner Maddox, are your comments concluded? Is this Commissioner Dozier is up next?
I made a motion.
You're done. Commissioner Dozier?
Mr. Chair, actually, Commissioner Maddox covered my questions, and County Administrator, I thought this was typical.
Okay.
And we always had an annual max. So thank you, Mr. County Administrator, for clarifying that.
Great. Motion to approve
Mr. Chair, what is the motion that's on the floor now?
staff recommendation.
Oh,
Options 1 through 4.
Okay.
All right. All in favor of the motion for staff recommendation, options 1 through 4, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. Vice Chair Proctor, is that a yes, sir? Is it unanimous? Okay. Motion passes unanimously, 7-0. All right. Vice Chair Proctor, you're recognized for consent item number 12 that was pulled.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, as you all have noted, the title of this item is approval of the City of Tallahassee's Master Water and Sewer Plan. I've looked through this plan, and I question the methodology of this plan that ensures geographic equity. There are 13 projects listed in here. There are 2 for the south side. When I look at the city's water and sewer plan, Bond neighborhood is not there for new retrofit. Springfield is not in there. Allen subdivision is not in there. South City is not in there. And I believe this plan goes up to 2040. And I can't support a plan that goes to 2040 and done left Springfield out, Frenchtown out, which Frenchtown may have some new retrofit. Bond is left out, and those are old pipes over there. South City is old pipes, them 60-year-old pipes down there, older than I am. Springfield is older, Dover, Dewey, Dunn, Dent, Delaware, Dade, them some old pipes. So when I look at the water issue of where they're going to put 100 fire hydrants down there on Wade Trail off of Woodville, off of Crawfordville Road, down that area, we underserved, our name ain't getting called. If you're going to be running water and looking at the next 30 years or 25 years where we're going to take some water, these people are not in the plan, and that's just plain wrong. I think I saw a little something for Highway 90, a little something on the west side for Highway 20, and it's just not, it seems like we're going to be favored. Now, it seems to me, Commissioners, that Woodville should be a priority consistent with the funding that the county has. And I'd like to encourage staff and that we make note in our recommendations back on approval of this plan that our support is a proviso that we make sure that the monies and the intentions of water mains going down to Woodville would jive and be synchronized with the county's programs there. Also in this plan, there is money for Jake Gaither, an inverted siphon modification. Jake Gaither has sewer, raw sewer, still pouring out under heavy rains on the golf course. And $401,000 in what's being projected here will not cover the need. The Ridge Road gravity main, I'm not certain about the sufficiency of that. Then, in terms of the city's water, we've lost a lake that has no green plants off of Adams Street, there where, is it Paul George Paul, along the side of the fairground, what that street called? North side of the fairground. Yeah, Paul Russell, thank you. Paul Russell intersects right there at Adams Street, and that little lake down the hill, it doesn't have a bonnet. It doesn't have anything green in it. Something is awry. Something is wrong. All of the plant life have died in the last year and a half. Something there is awry. I like us to look at that as the city talks about their 20-year capital improvement program. This is not game time ready. Commissioners, I would like to see our recommendation to the city that they expedite our projects in Lake Munson and in Woodville, because the retrofitting projects there should coincide with the county. And inasmuch as these communities have been waiting, if you just did on table 5.3, if you did an index of waiting, and there's no column called wait, I don't mean W-E-I-G-H-T, I'm talking about wait, W-A-I-T-E. How long have they been waiting for something to happen? And when you put that index there on the W-A-I-T, Munson and Woodville would not be at the bottom of their list. Instead, they have Rose Hill at the top. They have Killon Lakes at the top. Centerville, Trace, and Buck Lake at the top. And got Lake Munson and Woodville at the bottom. Now, there are comments about the USA and trying to service the USA. Well, I believe that inside the USA, I've got multiple precincts that cannot vote. I'm not talking about the pipes underneath the ground. I'm talking about the voting cards that citizens who are targeted for these services, if people are already recipients of the city's services, the city is denying them the right to vote because they're not recognized as being included in the city. This plan is not airtight, it's not ready. And my recommendation, commissioners, is that we send back to the city recommendations that I have suggested, and there may be those that you'd like to suggest, but I can't endorse a program that leaves out communities that when you apply the word wait and how long they have tried to wait, and for the city to spend this kind of money and don't call the name of these neighborhoods, I can't support this. So I think there should be some communications. We don't have to send the city a $3 million fine just yet. If you think we need to do that, Commissioner, we'll send them a bill. But I think we should talk and go to the table and review this list and make it equitable and find what methodology are they using to equip this study that is geographically equitable? Commissioner Jackson, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you need to look at this list, and District 2 is just not loved a lot. And what we see here is northeast, just business as usual. So thank you all very much. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Vice Chair Proctor. Commissioner Maddox.
Just, Mr. Administrator, I hate to put you on the gun here. Could you comment on some of that stuff? I do think Commissioner Proctor has some points there, but I want to understand
Sure.
what happens if we go in that direction and how they come up with the order of the ranking.
Mr. County Administrator.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, let me call on Brent and Teresa to come forward a little bit. I think that we can clarify specifically what this report is and does, and certainly the board's very, very familiar with it, the work that certainly the county's done, and of course the investment that the county's made, and particularly in the South Side, and just maybe how that corresponds to what's before us today. Obviously, this is something that we received that reflects the improvements that are in the city's CIP over the next 5 years. But Teresa, why don't you help put this in context a little bit?
The listing that the city provided is simply by geographic location. It's not an indication of prioritization. They've worked with us to implement water and sewer improvements, for example, in the Lake Munson area where we've got the grant that's currently ongoing.
Mr. Chair, can she talk closer to the mic?
I agree. It's difficult to hear you. Can you bring the microphone closer to your mouth, please?
The city of Tallahassee has looked at it more geographically than appears in the prioritization. It's not a prioritization plan per se. They've worked with us, for example, in the Lake Munson restoration project that we're doing, the sewer project that we're doing. They've voluntarily developed a water improvement project that they'll be implementing as a part of the capital project that we've got with the grant that's currently being scheduled. They're working on the Woodville project right now. They've identified a well study for the city of Woodville. They've got the study identified first, and then they'll make that determination from that study what improvements need to be done within the jurisdiction itself. So they do have an intent to work with us on our projects. They have, for example, the downtown Frenchtown area is a priority for them for one of their well projects, and the elevated tank is a major priority for them that will be serving the Frenchtown and downtown area that's identified. We simply didn't identify it in the master plan because it is largely within the city's jurisdiction. I apologize for not bringing that to your attention.
Ms. Hiker, when they talk about 10-inch pipes being replaced or 12-inch pipes, and those
Vice Chair Proctor, I'm sorry, but Commissioner Maddox has.
I'm sorry.
I'll yield for his questions.
What's that?
I'll yield for his questions.
Okay. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Thank you. The projection of 10-inch pipes to Woodville or 12-inch pipes to Woodville, those issues about piping. And we're talking about pipes in the ground, and there are neighborhoods that are not in the conversation of being piped or repiped. And there are cities all over America that are undergoing infrastructural decay. But in this picture, these snapshots, and I was just looking through the family photo and the names of the streets, and I just don't see many members of my family from District 1. And I'm appreciative that you all have, with the Munson thingy, and if there's a consensus or working togetherness is what you're saying on Woodville, that's not shown to me on this sheet of paper. And I only see those two names for projects in the South Side out of the totality of listed projects. So I largely view those as our projects. Those are not city-driven. Those are, most of that's our money. And those communities have been down, they're down the street. Sad part about it, the real sad part is that geographically, the neighborhoods in the areas closest to the city's treatment centers are the ones excluded and can't put theirs in the treatment center. But all of these neighborhoods from miles away are fathomed to be given the most exquisite new sewer for areas targeted, unsewered areas that are targeted, miles away. And the efforts that have come down there has been the voice of this person speaking now, and this county commission walking there. And it's sad that the people down there can't put their business in that city's thinking. And it's also sad that those people down there inside of Capitol Circle cannot vote in the city's elections. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Proctor. Mr. Maddox.
As far if I'm understanding, you said the cities is geographical, whereas we're priority. Is that what you said, ma'am?
It's not a prioritization. When we were listing the project areas, it was simply going from the map and starting at the top of the map, which was the north side, and coming down the map to the south side.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there an order of priority that we can see? Since this, I'm understanding you said this wasn't listed in priority, but is there somewhere we can see what the priority is?
The city's plans are fairly fluid. It depends on what they have as an opportunity to proceed with the construction.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when we have our Lake Munson grant project, that accelerated that water project as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter of opportunity. I can work with them and see if they can give us their CIP list for the first 5 years, but they don't have a full 40-year plan.
Understood.
It's 5-year incremental capital projects.
Right. Like I said, I do think Commissioner Proctor has a few points in his statements, specifically about the close proximity of those neighborhoods to our plant in the area. I want to move staff recommendation with a comment that we asked that the city give strong consideration to prioritization of those neighborhoods in the plan that are closest to our facilities or their sewage facilities on the south side. I think that puts us as far as we can go as a commission in trying to move forward with the priorities that you have, Commissioner Proctor, in that way. I mean, all they can do is really give us consideration. But I understand what you said is they really look at where we're leveraging the most money. So if we have money going towards Woodville, they're going to see if they can leverage that money to prioritize Woodville at the front. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Did you want to? All right. Okay.
Is your motion live or what?
Give me a second. Yes, sir.
All I was trying to say is we're just trying to prove what the city's, future plans are. I mean, we just can't necessarily direct them all over the place. However, we can make suggestions.
Move it.
This item is just to bring forward what the city has prepared. Obviously, the city is working in conjunction with us, especially, focusing on the primary springs protection zone on the south side. There are other areas that, I'm not completely familiar with all the city's water systems, but we'll gladly, reach out to the city and try to prioritize other areas.
So you're saying we shouldn't try to prioritize? I'm sorry, I couldn't.
Yes, I mean, we can reach out to the city to see what we can do for that.
All right, so that'd be a part of my motion. So I'll move staff recommendation to also include the looking at the prioritization of those inside the spring protection zone with particular emphasis on that Woodville, where else, Commissioner Partner?
Yeah, Woodville and Munson.
Woodville and Munson
Areas for sewer.
Yes. Does that get where we're trying to go?
Yes, sir.
That'll be my motion.
Now, I'll second that, and I ask if you receive that the city take a look at those older urban areas that are not the new areas who has decayed piping in that red clay over there in Springfield.
I'll accept that as well.
Those
So also with that, looking at areas that have the oldest pipes, I think that's fair as well.
All right.
We're prioritizing it too as well. I'll make that as part of my motion.
Yes, sir.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Maddox and seconded by Vice Chair Proctor. Next in the speaker's queue, I've got Commissioner Dozier. Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Brent, Teresa, thank you for the additional information. Good questions. I'll support the motion on the floor, and looking at the attachments, This was excerpts from, I mean, we don't have all of the information. I mean, this is a substantial amount of work the city goes through to do this plan. And I did note that there is a recommendation for downtown infrastructure replacements that was updated during the 2010 master plan, replacing aging infrastructure to improve the system capacity. I guess within this, I would be very curious what the breakdown is between new developments. And we've got some really large new areas that will come online in the next 20 years, likely, Wulani, other places. But we do have aging systems in other areas of the county. And I think Commissioner Proctor, you and Commissioner Maddox bring up a lot of those more urban areas. So, Mr. County Administrator, I think this, Mr. Chair, if you might, this is more of our understanding of these issues. I mean, obviously, these are county districts as well, even though they're managed by the city. And I think it is a good question to ask to really understand where those new areas are, where the areas in the unincorporated, where their focus is. And I know we have had a lot of focus in Munson and Woodville, but keeping up that focus is good. But really looking at that aging infrastructure question and whether or not it is more than just downtown. I think that is a critical piece of this puzzle that I'd like to know a bit more about. So I don't know if this, I don't think the motion asks for any information to come back, but if we see any result from these conversations, that would be one area that I'd really like to understand better.
I'll accept it as an amendment to the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank you,
Dozier.
Mr. Chair.
I got a point of information, Mr. Chairman, from my county attorney.
Go ahead, Vice Chair Proctor. Please make it brief.
Madam County Attorney, what makes the city of Tallahassee get in charge of our water? This is our water. What made them so drive the train on our water?
Madam County Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the City of Tallahassee operates its utility. So to the extent there is infrastructure related to the City of Tallahassee's water and wastewater system, they have jurisdiction over those assets. Now, I know that we've been working with them to address taking septic out. We've been obtaining grants from the state for a long time, especially in the Woodville area, to try to help facilitate the movement from existing septic systems to sewer. And in those instances, that would ultimately be part of the city's utility infrastructure. But we've been doing that, it's my understanding, because of the positive environmental impact that has, and the move and the shift from that discharge going into our water systems and into our sensitive environmental areas, which is why we've been supporting that over time. But did you have a follow-up question to that?
No, you've said that one of the points that I was trying to make to our commission, that the push for these areas in the Wakulla Springs protection area, that's been this board, our efforts, our grants with the state that is driving the train and not the city. That's what we've been trying to do, make safe and whatnot. With respect to our water, and then those dollars for infrastructure on those pipes, it's almost like we'll give them the right to hog up the water and determine who's going to get what, so to speak. So this report to us is that we sign off. I guess we have a MOU or something with them. But, I mean, they're not DeSantis. We just don't get told. We can make recommendations on what they have captured as some kind of report. And that's what our job is, to look at, to make recommendations, to respond to a report and not just swallow hook, line, and sinker something that this is their idea. That's our water. That's our water. So they don't get to make all 100% on stuff like that. It's ours, too. That's my point. Great motion is on the floor. Great secondary thought from Commissioner Dozier, and I'm well pleased with the direction that we're sending back to the city over our water.
Commissioner Dozier, final point, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is All Things Water Day, I guess. So Thank you for pulling the item, Commissioner Proctor. There is a section here on fire hydrants, and this is not a question that I thought about asking today. We've got money going into new hydrants in the unincorporated area, which is great. Mr. County Administrator, the fire hydrants, is that all in the water system purview? That doesn't relate to our fire service fee or anything like that, or the work that the county is doing to expand the fire hydrants in the unincorporated area. Is that correct? These are separate
Mr.
issues?
County Administrator.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Yes, there's a couple of different programs at play, and there are different funding mechanisms, but I think the build-out is reflected in this plan.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Let's pick it up. Vice Chair Proctor, final comment, please.
As the county commission, Madam Attorney, and other government operating inside the county, tell us a little bit about our authority, and is it not our authority that we have oversight or some nexus to what evolves and happens in our county, and that the city, the school board, or whoever prop up a little tent and say they're government, that this county commission has an authority to challenge or to make recommendations within when it's dealing with public utilities. Is that not true? Help me to understand our power. We have any.
Mr. County Administrator.
I was asking
Madam County Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, the county has some jurisdiction and authority to the extent the city wants to adopt laws or regulations that are inconsistent with the county's charter laws or other policies. It certainly has the authority to do so within the limits provided for in the county charter to do that. To the extent you're talking specifically about the city's water and wastewater utility system, I would think it would certainly be within the purview of the county commission to make recommendations and ask questions, especially in areas relevant to the county.
Amen. All right. I'm grateful for all that response. It's within the context of my understanding. We're acting as a county government should in terms of counterbalancing and advising with respect to equity of infrastructure for sewer, infrastructure with respect to water, and other advisory thoughts which we may have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chair Proctor. All right, we're going to move to a vote. Just a quick comment. I'm going to support the motion. I think it's a good motion. I like Commissioner Maddox's friendly amendment. The people of Woodville and Lake Munson, they need sewer connections. And I understand that. I know we've also got needs across the entire county. I've got folks on the northwest side of the county that are in desperate need of sewer connections too. So I'm really glad we're going to have something coming back that will kind of shed some more light on the prioritization and how that would be applied. But I think it's a good motion. All in favor of the motion as stated by Vice Chair Proctor and seconded by Commissioner Maddox, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously 7-0. And that concludes the items that are pulled from consent. Mr. County Administrator, we're now on citizens to be heard on non-agenda items. Would you please, are there any members of the public who would like to speak on non-agenda items?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've got two speaker cards in, one joining us virtually and the other in person. The first speaker joining us via Zoom is Scott Wheeler.
Mr. Wheeler, thank you very much for being here, sir. Would you please state your name and address for the record? You have 3 minutes. I think he's virtual, isn't he? Mr. Wheeler, can you hear us, sir? Mr. County Administrator, let's go to the next speaker and we'll come back to Mr. Wheeler.
Now, the next speaker is Stanley Sims.
Mr. Sims, welcome, sir. You've heard, you know the drill. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, I'm Stanley Sims at 1320 Avondale Way, wearing my pink for my loving mother who is battling cancer along with so many Americans and globally. I also want to commend this Miss Claudia. She's gone now. We're at 60%. But I was on a Zoom meeting, Miss Commissioner Dozier, because I'm finna give you another soapbox. There's the after effect of the pandemic is what is being classified as an endemic. And an endemic is when you're suffering the after effects of the pandemic, whether that be grief, financial loss, unclear uncertainty, stress, already mitigating mild illness. But I don't have but 3 minutes. I don't want to get in the weeds, but Commissioner Cummings, I want you to listen to these numbers that I got off of MSNBC, and the numbers that I got from the National Action Network in reference to our children who are suffering from endemic. And I believe, Commissioner Jackson, you'll be able to relate because you work with these children every day. Now, according to MSNBC, 1 out of 361 kids are suffering with endemic. Latin, 1 out of 510 children. White children, 1 out of 940. Now, these kids are 12 and under. The numbers are drastically worse when you're 16 and over. They start acting out. This weekend, I was with a family who lost their grandmother and their aunt. Mother is already in prison. Signs of endemic is when children don't know what tomorrow will bring. They are asking, who's going to take care of us? Who's going to do this? So the new term that's coming, Commissioner Dozier, is endemic. Thank you for
Thank you very much, Mr. Sims, for being here. Mr. County Administrator, next speaker, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have several additional speaker cards. The next is Beverly Grady.
Thank you, ma'am, for being here. Would you please state your name and address for the record? You have 3 minutes.
Beverly Grady, 1017 Green Hill Trace, Tallahassee, Florida, 32317. I'll be quick. When have you heard that? First, I'm fully vaccinated. This thing's chased my face. And Mr. Proctor, we grew up on the South Side. My father was a Florida cracker, and he loved you to death because you were the only person who ever represented the South Side. So I just wanted to say that. I'm here for a very pedestrian request, which has to do with the county's laws or rules or whatever regarding vicious dogs. I don't live in the city anymore. I live in the county. And a couple months back, 2 dogs got loose in my neighborhood, and they almost killed a horse. Took $10,000 for these people to save a horse. And none of my neighbors, they didn't want to give in. Nobody wants to get involved. But the county position on vicious animals is you give them a second chance. And we live in a neighborhood, and kids walk to the bus stop, people walk their dogs around. I know this isn't anything like Lake Munson or whatever, but I would like to request that at some point, some of y'all's minions or whatever, look into the mandates for vicious dogs. If you go on the Leon County website, the vicious dogs, you know what you do? You put them in their backyards with muzzles on them. Not only is that not good, that's a cruel thing to do to an animal that's already a cruel animal. I'm a dog groomer. I'm coming to request that somebody somewhere look into these mandates or whatever you call them for vicious dogs. They're vicious. I've been grooming dogs for 30 years. They're the Ted Bundys of the dog world. You just know. And it's not nice. Nobody likes it. My time's up. But, Mr. Proctor, kudos to you.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mr. County Administrator, next speaker, please.
The next speaker, Kelly O'Rourke.
Hello, Mr. O'Rourke. Thank you for coming. Would you please state your name and address for the record? And you have 3 minutes.
Is that okay?
Sure. Thank you. Extra fun. Hi, I'm Kelly O'Rourke. I'm a research associate at FSU's College for Institute for Family Violence Studies, but I'm also the director of the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council. And the council is made up of all of the agencies in town.
Mr. O'Rourke, I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you need to put your mask on.
My face.
I understand, but there's a court
I
order.
didn't want to be rude, but.
I understand, but there's a court order to wear a mask in this building. Thank you very much. Mr. O'Rourke, I'm sorry, please
Sure,
continue.
no problems. And we are made up of all the agencies in town that work with domestic violence victims and perpetrators. And we meet every month to make sure that we are having a well-coordinated community response to domestic violence, which is one thing we do. But we also do a whole lot of public awareness and education because that's something else that really helps to mitigate domestic violence in a community. And now I am a very big, strong supporter of Breast Cancer Awareness Month for personal reasons, but also, you might not know, that October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and that color is purple. So some of the things that we did were uniting forces against domestic violence, where we got all 5 of the police forces in town, that's FSU, TCC, FAMU's PD, and also TPD and LCSO to come together. And I don't think I've ever seen a picture before of all 5 of the chiefs and the sheriff together in one place. It was really amazing at Cascades Park. And they each got a car wrapped in anti-domestic violence message with the hotline number on it for the month. So first of all, if you see any of those cars driving around, make sure you honk at them and wave. And or you may not want to honk at a police officer. That's probably not a good idea, but give them a thumbs up or something. And the other part of forces, united against domestic violence is the community. So we've got a lot of doctors and restaurants and businesses in town putting up the purple ribbon with the hotline number and the pinwheels and whatever to draw attention. And we also, as you can see here, we lit the Capitol purple for the first week of October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The Capitol's lit purple. And also the Leon County Courthouse worked with us, and they lit everything purple as well. And it's just really beautiful. So I hope you guys had a chance to see that while it was out there. And all that said, the reason I'm really here is just to say thank you. We, as a group, the Domestic Violence Council, and all the agencies that are part of it, wanted to thank the County Commission for all that they do. I think it's been maybe at least 20 years that I've been working in this capacity, and never once have I been told, no, sorry, not important, by any county commission. I think I've spoken to every one of you, and the first answer I get from the county commission is, yes, where do we need to be? What do we have to do? Where should we go? And I think we just want to thank you tremendously. I had 2 speakers, Commissioner Minor and Commissioner Cummings came to the lighting ceremony and spoke. And after that, I don't know if you know, 2 different women came up to me and said, thank you so much, because it's so important when they see the Capitol purple and the Leon County Courthouse purple and hear the commissioner speaking, they said, it really made us believe that our leadership is behind us on this. And that was the whole point here, is that you're not alone. All of the leaders, all the people in Tallahassee support you survivors. And we also are there to say to the abusers, we see you and we're going to hold you accountable. So thank you again for always being such strong supporters against domestic violence and everything you've done in the past and the future to help us.
Thank you very much, Ms. O'Rourke. I really appreciate it. And thank you for everything you do. Mr. County Administrator, next speaker, please.
Next speaker, Lonnie Mann.
Mr. Mann, thank you very much for being here, sir. Would you please state your name and address for the record? And you have 3 minutes.
Lonnie Mann, 1120 East Wynwood Way, Tallahassee. There's a tiny little report embedded in your ginormous agenda related to New Hope Cemetery, which is partially on Miccosukee Greenway, state property, county managed. If you have not read the report, I wish you'd take a couple of minutes and look at it. New Hope Cemetery is an important cultural resource, historical resource, and a sacred place. And in the report, you're going to observe the work that County Parks and Rec did in documenting and working toward memorializing this resource. This is something that you can be proud of. County Parks and Rec did really outstanding work in working with descendants and the State Bureau of Archaeological Research. In fact, the work that was done here in Tallahassee was held up as an example by the legislatively created African American Cemeteries Task Force. So I think that's something that the county can be proud of, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mann. Mr. County Administrator, next speaker, please.
Next speaker, Gloria Anderson.
Ms. Anderson, welcome back. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm Gloria Anderson. I reside 3515 Easter Stanley Road. I'm here this evening to thank the Leon County Commission for their support in that historic New Hope Cemetery. I was born and raised in Leon County. I was born and raised in the Red Hills of Leon County. I've been all over Weelaunee, but not like this. Just a few years ago, during the pandemic, we were able to, I was looking for where my ancestors were buried. And the elders in the community led me to Testarena Primitive Baptist Church on Miccosukee Road on the Weelaunee Plantation. And so I met Lonnie along the way at the Tallahassee Historical Society meetings. And he's been supportive of us for a very, very long time. So I'm just here just to say every family has a story to tell. Every community has a story to tell. I don't know, many of you are young, but Leon County had over 19,000 slaves at one time. And so therefore, when we start looking for burial sites, they're everywhere. And I was able to find this particular site with the help of the Leon County, because you all have been supportive of us from the beginning during the discovery period. And then, of course, we're moving on. We've already done the discovery, recovery. Now we're into memorializing what's going to happen next, what's going to happen in the next step. Like I said, thank you very much. And thank you for helping us tell our story. Commissioner Proctor, thank you, because you've been consistent in working with us and making sure we got the updates. And that's where we are today. So we thank you. We thank all of the commissioners, because there are many people out there in Leon County who are still living on property that their slave ancestors owned. So we thank you, and if you're ever out that way, I suggest you go by Testarena Primitive Baptist Church on the trail. Testarena has a new gate there now, so you can go right through and see exactly what we're talking about. The signs that were put out just a week or so ago, we were there at a meeting, and we didn't even know they were there until at the end of the meeting, we did a site visit on the trail, and there were these signs. So we were just elated, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anderson. Next speaker, Mr. County Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Final speaker, Melissa Villar.
Hello, Ms. Villar. Welcome back, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Hi there, Melissa Villar with at 169 Sinclair Road, and I represent Normal Tallahassee, which is the national organization for the reform of marijuana laws. So I do want to thank you for your federal priorities to support the MORE Act And the MORE Act is the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act. So I'd really like to speak with you about the Expungement Act part because, and encourage everyone that we have a program here in the Second Judicial Circuit since the state is moving on juvenile expungements, but they have neglected the adults. And I really feel that we need to go ahead and move forward as the capital city and have an expungement program here in the Second Judicial Circuit. Also, I'd like to bring up the fact that the state contracted with a new provider for ankle monitors, and those ankle monitors are faulty. So people are sitting in their living rooms and they are being in violation. So their probation officer, they are issuing warrants for their arrest. So people are having to spend, if you talk to any inmates at the Leon County Jail, you will find that many are in there because of their faulty ankle monitor that was in violation when they were sitting in their own home. So that's something that I'm bringing up with the legislature because it is a state contract with a vendor. So, and I just think it's very important to know because the correctional facilities, the jails, everything is at capacity. The state courts are at capacity. And we really need to move forward on having equity and not having any type of cannabis possession charges at all. That's what I'd like to see, have full legalization, have prioritized 2 ounces at least for the whole population and not just for the medical.
Thank you very much, Ms. Villar. Appreciate it. Mr. County Administrator, can we try Mr. Wheeler back? Is he by chance still connected?
That concludes our speakers, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair?
Okay. I wasn't aware that
Mr.
we had
Wheeler?
him online. Matt, do we have him at this point?
Chair?
Okay.
Mr. Wheeler, thank you for joining us. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Scott Wheeler Jr. My address is 1960 Rain Valley Court, Tallahassee, Florida 32308. Commissioners and all others, I'd like to share a proposal and method of expanding paid leave for a wider number of workers statewide, including here in Leon County, and hopefully replicate it elsewhere for those who recently have 1 or more children or suffered an unintended miscarriage. This year I was inspired when rereading the part of a 2003 book the late former Georgia Governor Zell Miller wrote, where he discussed some ideas for education and how Georgians approved his idea of a lottery for education nearly 30 years ago. Without commenting on lotteries or gambling, I would like to focus on the idea of a way for the state to get more money for worthwhile goals in a voluntary way. My proposal is not a lottery, but opt-in donations. When speaking generally, shoppers in Florida are checkout and ask if they would like to make a donation of any size to something like an SPLP Florida Paid Leave Program. The state of Florida could collect these donations from where they were made and through an existing department give the money to those workers who should qualify. Any surplus would be retained to offset possible decreases in donations in hard economic times. More details can be added or discussed, but this is basically the idea in a nutshell. Florida should take the lead in this as at least a partial approach to funding something that could truly help families, including those who work that aren't well off. This mechanism is not a tax. What I'm currently asking the Commission to do is to approve a proclamation or resolution endorsing this proposal. This vote would not itself create anything or allocate any money, but simply express support. Thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Wheeler, thank you very much, and thank you for staying on. Appreciate it. Mr. County Administrator, I believe there are no more speakers. Is that correct?
There are no other speakers.
All right, Commissioners, we are now at general business. Mr. County Administrator, would you please introduce the first item?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this item seeks the board's receipt of the Tallahassee-Leon County Commission on the Status of Women and Girls 2021 Annual Report and the approval of the annual joint city-county agreement with the Oasis Center for Women and Girls providing administrative support. The chairman of the committee, Commissioners, is here, LaShawn Gordon, to provide a brief presentation. We're recommending options 1 and 2, and we have no speakers on this item. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. County Administrator. Ms. Boyd, right?
Yes, good to see you, Mr. Minor.
Good to see you too. Well, Commissioners, any questions, any motions you'd like to make? Or Ms. Boyd, did you want to make a presentation?
I'm happy to do so. I have one prepared, but I think you're all pretty aware of what we're doing, and y'all have been very, very supportive, each and every one of you, and from the bottom of our hearts, and the women and girls we serve. We really appreciate your support. I am here today on behalf of the outgoing chair, LaShawn Gordon, and none of this would have been possible without her leadership. I want to thank Catherine Register, our outgoing coordinator. Our new coordinator is with me today, Mary Deschler. And of course, with the vision and leadership of our founding mother, Kelly Oddie. So again, it's a privilege to serve, and I look forward to being your chair in this next term.
Thank you very much, Ms. Boyd. And as someone, my wife was on the commission staff, Women and Girls, many years ago, and so we talk about the progress that you all are making quite a bit. So thank you very much for everything that you and the entire commission do.
Move staff recommendation.
There's a motion made for staff recommendation. A second made by Commissioner Cummings, and then Commissioner Dozier is in the speaker's queue. Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you
for being here and for all of your great work and representing us, John. Mr. Chair, great recommendations. We've got the report as always. I just wanted to highlight under the violence and safety section, really looking at LGBTQ girls and women in our community and what they experience and if there are any issues, and focusing on that for 2022. I saw staff's note to really in support of that effort, and all of the recommendations are great, but I'm glad to see that one in your list right now. So thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. We definitely plan to dig deeper into our LGBTQ plus community here in Tallahassee. And this is the 11th year of the commission. And so we're going to take it in a little bit different direction by going back to our roots and really looking at past recommendations, both from commissioners serving on this board and from you all, and really get down to our data-driven practices, focus on women and girls across the lifespan, and including LGBTQ+. So it's going to be a great year.
That's fantastic. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That's great. Thank you, Commissioner Dozier. Ms. Boyd, thank you again to everybody on the commission and to you and your leadership, and Ms. Gordon, too. Really appreciate all of her efforts. So thank you all very much for everything.
I will be seeing you all soon.
Yes. Mr. County Administrator, would you please introduce the next item?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, item number...
I'm sorry. We didn't vote on the motion at hand. I'm sorry about that. All those in favor of the motion as made by Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Commissioner Cummings for staff recommendation, which is options 1 and 2, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Sorry about that, Mr. County Administrator. Next item, please.
That's all right, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. This item provides an overview of the proposed 2021-22 annual retreat scheduled for January 24th, 2022. This fiscal year is a renewal year, meaning that the annual retreat will serve as both the closeout to the current year as well as establish the baseline for the new 5-year strategic plan. We have no speakers on this item. Commissioners recommend option 1.
Motion made by Commissioner Dozier for option 1, seconded by Commissioner Welch. Any discussion? Vice Chair Proctor.
Mr. Chairman, I'm hopeful that the meeting this year would, aside from the presentation that's given here, if there's any ad hoc items that commissioners may desire to bring, in particular, I think of Commissioner Welch and Commissioner Cummings, whose orientation is a lot perhaps better this year than last year, that we would have flexibility to afford us feeling like we can talk about some things which may generate beyond this moment of voting this approval. What I'm saying is that I'm hopeful that we're not just locked stock and barrel into this one thing, but if we get to the meeting and something is trending on Commissioner Madison's heart that he didn't see here, that we would have the freedom and flex to bring those things up with equal standing to the pre-printed agenda. That's the ask of this commissioner.
Could you repeat that last sentence? I didn't hear what you...
Those ad hoc items which commissioners may desire to speak to, my ask is that we're adaptive to those matters being given equal weight to these which are pre-programmed for us to discuss, which staff has put together. There may be some others coming from the dais, and I'm hopeful that we can give room and equal standing to the fact that they're not encased in this presentation, item 20, that they will still be open for our group discussion.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Proctor. Thank you for clarifying. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion made by Commissioner Dozier and seconded by Commissioner Welch for option number 1, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Mr. County Administrator, would you please introduce the next item?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, item number 21 provides an analysis related to the development of a comprehensive watershed management plan with other counties and cities in the region. This item was requested by the board and builds upon the status report presented back in July, which examined the maintenance schedules, intergovernmental coordination, and water quality metrics associated with stormwater facilities. The analysis describes the difference between watershed plans and basin plans and explains why basin plans are more impactful in protecting the county's water resources. We anticipate bringing back a recommendation to the board to update the county's basin plans in the near future once the state finalizes and adopts new stormwater standards, as we've explained in the analysis in this item. We've been actively monitoring and anticipate that Florida DEP will establish new statewide stormwater plans as directed by the legislature within the next 18 to 24 months, and believe that it would be prudent for us to allow that process to play out before engaging consultants to update our water basin plans. I've asked Therese Hiker, commissioners, to be here and to prepare and to provide rather a brief presentation for you and to answer any questions that you might have on this issue. With that, commissioners, we have no speakers on this item and do recommend option 1. And again, Therese is here. She can provide a brief presentation. She can answer any questions you might have, whatever the pleasure of the board is.
Thank you very much, Mr. County Administrator. What's the will of the board? Would you like to hear a presentation on this? I'd like to. Ms. Hiker, thank you very much for coming and being here.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. The existing studies that Leon County operates from differs in 3 main focuses. One would be the scale of the study, one would be the sponsoring agency, one would be the intent or the focus of the study. The watershed is best defined as the contributing area that provides water or groundwater to a surface water. A basin is a subset of the watersheds. The scale, obviously, this watershed's made up of a number of basins. There are 2 primary sponsoring agencies that have generated plans within Leon County. One is the Northwest Florida Water Management District, who's generated this, what we call SWIM plans, Surface Water Improvement Management Plans. The others are the local governments. City of Tallahassee and Leon County have worked with the District of the Northwest Management District to generate the basin management studies. The first intent would be the water quality only, which would be the SWIM plans generated by the Water Management District. They were studied primarily for the water quality, not for flooding or for pollution load reduction. And then the basin plans were generated for both water quality and flooding purposes. The basin plans that we have, again, evaluated both the water quality and the flooding that was generated, both volume and rate flooding that is experienced throughout the community. We implement a number of structural projects that are identified in our capital program, as well as non-structural recommendations such as the improvement of Gum Swamp, modifications to our ordinances. We don't have a lot of interaction with the adjacent counties. A lot of our jurisdiction does fall into what are called closed basins, where we have sinking streams and swalettes that receive the stormwater and receive the surface water. Examples of that would be Lake Lafayette, Lake Jackson. The areas that the county discharges to other communities are primarily undeveloped areas. For example, the Apalachicola National Forest discharges through Fisher Creek and Lost Creek down into the sink areas. In addition to these basin plans, there also is the annual water quality reports that are provided. And the result of our monitoring program identifies that the majority of our water bodies are healthy by state standards. One of the primary reasons that we have not recommended any updating of the program at this time is because of the Florida legislation of 2020 called the Clean Waterways Act. It's a focus on the nutrient pollution as opposed to historic stormwater management, which focuses on other management practices. Both the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the water management districts have been directed to improve the stormwater standards, both the design and the operation regulations. There have been a number of meetings of the Technical Advisory Committee to support the development of the rule with recommendations to the FDP for technical support of recommendations. DEP's rulemaking process will have a number of opportunities for public input through its rulemaking program. So at this time, we recommend that the basin updates be deferred until such time as the stormwater rule is adopted so that we can avoid being superseded by these new standards. And it gives us the opportunity to build on the new standards. And I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Motion's been made to move staff recommendation, made by Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. I've got a number of people here. Ms. Eicher, thank you very much for the presentation. We've got a number of speakers here that would like to provide some comments and questions. I've got Commissioner Cummings, then Vice Chair Proctor, then Commissioners Dozier, Welch, and Jackson. Commissioner Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I think we all received this memo from a constituent that questioned the report and among other things, discussed contaminants, including sewer and other impurities in some of the bodies of water in the county. And I know she mentioned that at this point, there's no testing of nutrient solutions. Is that basically the same thing? Is contaminants, or is this report not even addressing that particular issue?
Our sampling program does include tests for wastewater constituents, primarily bacteria. We've identified very limited bacteria contamination throughout Leon County. For the most part, there are other constituents that I'm familiar with that have been identified as linked to wastewater contamination, but we don't find that those are prevalent in our surface waters that we've tested.
Well, that's pretty much, Mr. Chairman, if I may, just a follow-up, that's pretty much, I guess, and I'm just reading the memo that we all got, that's pretty much what the constituent was sort of indicating, that perhaps it's not as, we don't have as much testing of the bodies that we should have. But based on what you're saying, it is that there are tests, but they don't rise to the level of concern. Is that summarizing it pretty clear?
Yes, ma'am. We find that our systems throughout the county are primarily healthy. The systems that we identify contamination from wastewater are fairly limited. There's some question about whether or not the contamination is actually linked to wildlife, as opposed to failing septic tanks or septic sewer or sanitary sewers.
Just one follow-up. So based on your report, it's nothing that's raising any alarm as far as the bodies of water that you are dealing with here in the county?
We do not find that wastewater contamination is as significant of a concern as has been raised by some individuals in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. We've got Vice Chair Proctor, then Commissioners Dozier, Welch, and Jackson. Vice Chair Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Ms. Hiker, not just today, but cumulative, big old thank you with an echo radiating back in time for her years of service. The report today sounds somewhat disjunctive to me. And if I've understood option one, you're asking this board to do what? What is the ask of Ms. Hiker?
We're asking to defer any update to the basin plans until such time as the Department of Environmental Protection has enacted their rules for new stormwater standards.
All right. Commissioner Maddox, did you understand that? That's not what's on the sheet of paper. Yes, sir. Vince, you understand that that's the ask? I'm looking at the recommendation, but I heard Ms. Hiker's report to us.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, it'd probably be helpful to just know that this was an issue that was requested that we bring forward to further examine where we are, what the status of things are. And so in bringing this forward, this issue of watershed management relative to our basin management plans, we know it can get a little confusing. So again, this was an issue that the board requested. We brought it back. Again, Teresa provided analysis to further explain all those things. But relative to taking the next steps in a watershed management plan, the advice that we're receiving from staff today is that it's prudent just to wait and see what happens for the moment with the Department of Environmental Protection in their promulgation of rules, and then allow us to come back to you and present that to you in terms of how we move forward based on that.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard. It was a little disheartening and disconcerting, and I asked Commissioner Dozier to walk with me, intellectual walk through this, that Ms. Hiker told us that we really have no working relation with counties, surrounding counties. This is somewhat problematic because we've always had the knife's edge to our throats with respect to us having to respect Wakulla Springs. I don't remember, I think we met at the lodge with the Wakulla Springs Commission some years ago. This commissioner requesting that we meet with our sister county, and I think we did once, I'll say twice, just to make sure that we covered every single time. That's tragic with respect to water. We had a water issue when raw fecal was coming into our county from Georgia. I can't remember that county up there, about 2-3 counties up. And they would not, their standard of treatment and what they were pumping and was coming down through our county. And again, these lack of conversations. Is there any way we can improve that? Or does, it's been said that water knows no boundary. Or we just continue to every county just exist in its own zombie state of isolation. How do we understand that water is regional in its behavior and all that? Ms. Hiker?
We do have interactions with the other communities. We work with them. We've talked with them. But as far as being able to develop a watershed plan, which would be a legal binding commitment with funding resources, that's something that we don't feel that the other communities have the resources to be able to work with us on large-scale plans like that.
Gotcha. All right. That's what you're saying. All right. And then finally, it would be, does the 100-year flood, speaking of those preemptive entities that just chunk our stuff to the side, does the 100-year flood plain stuff from the federal government that sets some insurance rates and all of that, and the buildability of certain properties, does that factor into this stuff that you're suggesting to us? Is it a part of it?
We do have existing flood improvement projects that have been identified through our capital program. We would certainly be able to improve the information we have on the 100-year floodplain by doing the updates. But as far as an actual basin plan, we would recommend that we do all stormwater management improvements at one time, so that we would have the water quality enhancement of the state stormwater rule and the flooding analysis done at the same time.
Okay. I know my final comment, Mr. Chairman, is that this is going to shock, really shock Commissioner Dozier for one, and it's going to shock you all, what I'm going to say, because I'm not one to always ask for. But I really think that this area needs, forgive me, I've never asked for this before, but an outside consultant review, something independent of our staff and our staff's feelings of what their parameters are, our staff's inhibitions, and our staff's thought trend over the last 2, 3, 4 decades. I think we need a serious, at-large, outside review of some geotechnical type to not look at our data, not to get caught in what has been our trajectory of what water is here. And it really stands, as we're talking about global warming and we're talking about pollution intensity, we're talking about new toxins, crap. We're talking about COVID-19. And I would think that a good 3-4 year study of the behavior of water and rain and all that is really, truly needed. I know we're not prepared to do that this year, tonight, but just over the years that Ms. Hiker alone has been our senior lead engineer, and not that she's not super lady, Hercules, but she's done a great job. But the issues are so dynamic, so diverse, that if we're going to be serious about the matter and be the leader in North Florida, we need some new outside professionals to help us in this regard. You didn't faint, did you, Commissioner Dozier? I know you like to pass out. Bill Proctor asking for an outside consultant.
Thank you, Vice Chair Proctor. Mr. County Administrator.
I just didn't want to lose the opportunity, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Proctor, to let you know that we're in complete agreement with you on that as well, and we'd be bringing that forward to you as we indicate here in the item after the FDEP finalizes their rules on this issue, and as we prepare to commence with our watershed planning, we would be bringing in and we'd be bringing that back to you to engage outside consultants to work with.
Vince, you know, we share the same birth date.
This is true.
And great minds, again, thinking alike.
All right. Any final comments, Vice Chair Proctor, before we move on to the next speaker? All right. We've got Commissioner Dozier, then Commissioner Welch and Jackson. Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Teresa, thank you for a great report and update there, and for your time during briefing. That was good. It was helpful to go through some of this yesterday. And just to clarify, Mr. County Administrator, well, he's speaking, but I'll direct this to you, Teresa. What would be updated is the basin plans post, not a watershed management plan. I think that, Mr. County Administrator, you may have misspoke. So just making sure you would recommend a consultant to update the basin plans after the stormwater rulemaking is finished at the state level. Is that correct?
Teresa, help me out there.
We would recommend the basin plans individually be identified for update because there is not a cohesive sharing of water that would make it appropriate to do a watershed plan.
Right. I just there's a lot of terms moving around, and Mr. County Administrator, I think you said watershed, and I just wanted to make sure we were on the basin plans, and that's where your agreement with Commissioner Proctor. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were good on that. So I think this is a really good report, and for my part, in a lot of conversations with citizens and just seeing these updates from our staff and looking at this stuff over the years, it was suggested to me that maybe we could look at a watershed management plan. So that's what we brought up last December. I do understand that plan, based on this report, Teresa, you just really got to a phrase that actually you didn't use yesterday, which was typically a watershed management plan is a legal structure that has funding requirements, and that may be not the right fit for us. So I think this does help clarify a lot of issues, and it was helpful to see the 36 basins that we have and think through these different issues. I am comfortable waiting until the stormwater rulemaking is complete, and you shared with me yesterday, this time it's legislative driven. So unlike past times, we really do anticipate that this is going to come to an end in 18 to 24 months, as you said. We're going to see these new rules. They're going to be more robust. So spending money at that time on updating the basin plans does make sense. So I think that was really good information coming out of the item. My thinking here, Mr. Chair, is, and this kind of may be surprising to Commissioner Proctor, goes right in line with what you were just saying about being very innovative. The strategic initiative that this is kind of built on is to look at our water projects, programs, everything holistically, and adopt strategies and priorities that really are more focused on, looking towards the future. And you mentioned climate change. We are seeing changing patterns in rainfall. We are hearing, that we should expect changes in temperature, changes in rainfall going forward. I'll come to this in a second, but from one group, I have heard that we should expect, or we could expect, more algal blooms with higher temperatures. That's not something, thankfully, our county has had to deal with as much as other counties around the state, but it's an issue. So from my perspective on this, and Mr. County Administrator, you might be able to help me with this, or Teresa might. What we were talking about yesterday is how to prepare for the rulemaking and the basin plan update. So that's really what the recommendation is, not to do any of the consultant work right now. But I think there are other areas that we could dig into. For example, a watershed plan, this was interesting to me, really focuses on surface water. We don't have big rivers we don't have a coastline, but we do have groundwater, and there's a lot more data that needs to be collected, other things like that. But we also have the ecology and health of our water bodies within Leon County, whether or not they connect with others. I think we have done a tremendous amount of work, and it's interesting that we pulled the water sewer plan and talked about that earlier. The BMAP process and all of the attention and focus that we've had on cleaning up wastewater has had, and you've referenced this in the item, I mean, the water quality in Lake Munson all the way down to Wakulla Springs has dramatically improved with the improvements the city has done and with our ongoing improvements. And DEP recognizes that, and we continue to see funding for septic to sewer and other things. So we really, I think, have done a great job in the wastewater end. What I'm wondering about is the stormwater management, other infrastructure, things like that. And I do not, again, think we need to spend money on those basin plans right now, but just as an example, we talked about this yesterday, there's a new grant program with the state, Resilient Florida. And next summer, we could apply for funding for stormwater mitigation plans. And I wonder where we are on ranking those projects and really thinking about those different issues because there's new funding availability. What other types of data might we need to position ourselves for really tracking what's happening and to implement those basin plans in the future? There are some other questions here. So, Mr. Chair, I'm going to actually do a substitute motion here, and I'm going to bring it in for a landing. Our Water Resources Committee, which we got a little history here, which was great, their intent is to provide cohesive planning across the county for water issues. I know they're in an advisory role. Staff works with them closely. They didn't see this agenda item. I think it was a timing issue. but they do meet, my understanding is in November. Is that correct? I would like to bring this back in December with any kind of recommendations or thoughts from that Water Advisory Committee. Those are our experts. We each have an appointment to that committee to see if a watershed management plan is not the appropriate thing to look at for our county, and we're going to wait on the basin plan. What else could we do to kind of look ahead at climate change issues, flooding, algal blooms, other things like that, and make sure that we are positioned properly to take advantage of new funding from the state? So really, this is just giving this report to our standing committee that didn't get a chance to look at it and bringing back other ideas, because I think staff answered the question, watershed management plan or not. That was the question we asked last December, but there are a lot of other things that this kind of illuminates that I think we could dig into. So, Mr. Chair, that would be my motion, to send this to our Water Resources Committee, have them review it in November, and to report back to us on their ideas or findings for our December meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'll rescind my motion and second Commissioner Dozier's motion.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right. Motion's been made a substitute motion has been made by Commissioner Dozier and seconded by Commissioner Maddox. Any other comments, Commissioner Dozier?
One last, and the timing of this is just extraordinary. So, several weeks ago, I was having a conversation about affordable housing, and we happened to start talking about the algae eater at Lake Munson. Mr. Chair, I think you were at that event. This has been AECOM, a contractor working with Water Management District, DEP, our staff, and they have just a remarkable machine to clean up the water quality. Through an interesting series of events, we identified a pond at Appalachia Regional Park, and I want to compliment our staff. These guys have said they're blown away at how fast everyone moved, from Parks and Rec, your office, to DSM, to others. We are going to see this algae eater go to the pond near the cross-country track. It'll be on the landfill side, that's my understanding, in a couple of weeks to clean up the algae in that pond. And it's no funding, Mr. County Administrator, there's no funding from the county here. We're just helping coordinate the location, and we will address a water quality issue. And again, this was a quick turnaround, multiple agencies. So I just wanted to say that, Mr. Chair, that yeah, we're looking at a lot of different issues, but we're also taking action and have some great partners to deal with water quality issues when we do find them. Thank you.
Well said, Commissioner Dozier. I've got Commissioner Welch, then Jackson, then Vice Chair Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Teresa, I'm especially concerned with the lakes in Killearn. And I understand that our watershed in the north part of the county contributes to the water quality, or really there's not a lot of water in those lakes. That is something that I don't pretend to understand all the minutia of the things that you guys understand when it comes to water quality and management and all that stuff. I'm just particularly concerned about the lakes in Killearn because they're in bad shape, and the folks who live on them, and I recognize that that's in the city. Is there anything, and this is not necessarily apropos to this study, but it does relate to watershed from the unincorporated part of the county as it contributes to basins, if you will, inside the city. And I don't know, Mr. County Administrator, if this is something that we can elevate at our next strategic planning meeting about making it a priority or something, but you obviously work with the city in regards to water management, water quality. Is there anything that we can do as a county government to help the city, push the city, get the city to make Killearn's lakes as much of a priority as I think they need to be in terms of improving their quality, improving their state? Maybe there's things we can do in our, runoff area or watershed, as you will. Is there anything we can do?
The lakes in Killearn are a special circumstance in that they used to be farm ponds, and there were wells dug to keep the water level high. And then there was flooding in the neighborhood that developed around the lakes, and the wells were discontinued. So that's why the lakes are so low. It's a very difficult situation to try to balance the needs of the flooding versus the water quality there.
Is that area under Talquin or the city?
And they are considered stormwater treatment facilities by the city of Tallahassee, but they are being evaluated by the city for improvement. They are trying to evaluate opportunities for establishing better hydrology in the system. And I'm aware that they are making efforts through the DEP to try to keep those systems more healthy. We've made improvements in our watersheds that are draining to those lakes, and we've done our best within the unincorporated area to try to ensure that our systems are as healthy as possible discharging into that system. But it is a difficult balance with the history of those particular water bodies.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Welch.
Thank you, Teresa. That makes perfect sense. Obviously, I recognize the conflict, if you will, or the confusion or the problem that's related to the two municipalities kind of dealing with that. And you answered my question to the extent that our watershed, we do everything we can in our watershed north of Killearn to make sure the quality going into Killearn is good. And then that leads me to my next conversation, Mr. County Administrator. I really, really want to elevate that issue to whatever extent we can, whether you all, with the IMC or whatever, or at our next strategic planning meeting can really come up with a solution, a real solution to get those water bodies back to a quality that we expect them and would like them to be. So whatever, we can talk about that offline, but I did want to say that publicly, that I am very concerned about the status of the lakes in Killearn. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Welch.
I just wanted to say, Mr. Chairman, I think based on what Teresa just said, probably a good place to start would be for us to bring back an agenda item for you all to capture what the city is doing and how that's being evaluated and coordinated with DEP and that sort of thing. And again, that may be a good place for us to start. So we'll be sure to do that.
Thank you, Mr. County Administrator. I'm sorry, ma'am, I've got, real quick, please, real quick. We got to.
Yes, I understand. Thank you for the line of questions, Commissioner Welch. Mr. County Administrator, I think an agenda item would be great. I didn't bring this up. I was going to ask about it in a briefing, but I'm a little confused about the permit and some other information.
I do have other people in the speaker's queue. Why don't let me go through the
I'm
speaker's
just asking if that can come back in the agenda item. That's it,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
I'll take you on after the speaker's queue. Commissioner Jackson, then Vice Chair Proctor, and then Commissioner Dozier.
I have no further questions. I'm sufficiently educated after.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson.
Since I pressed the button.
Vice Chair Proctor, then Commissioner Dozier.
I can yield to Commissioner Dozier because I don't want to break the continuity.
All right, Commissioner Dozier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I didn't use our most common phrase, on point, which maybe I should have.
No, that term is, they use it all the time in the city. Here, we don't use that term.
I get it.
On point.
I wanted to make sure I captured it in the line with Mr. County, or the County Administrator's suggestion that we have an agenda item about the Killearn Lakes. I have heard about this issue from other constituents as well. Yes, it's a district issue, so Commissioner Welch, I'm sure you're deep into this, maybe pun intended. But the permit structure with, my understanding was city, county, DEP, others, I would really like to understand that better. We often refer to it, as you did, Teresa, as a city issue, and we're working with DEP. But I do think an agenda item would really help us clarify some of those questions we get from constituents. Mr. County Administrator, is that something we can add in? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Dozier. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Proctor.
On the comeback, on that comeback to that item, I think to a county attorney, there's the federal EPA, there's the Corps of Engineering, but we have the problem of a mixed jurisdictional standard. Georgia has no standards on what they throw in the water. It gets down here to our county. We're held accountable to standards. We're actually held accountable with expectation that water passing through Leon should be at a certain quality before it comes into Wakulla. we're dealing under the jurisdictional standard of Florida, our expectation of our neighbors in Florida. But when we interact with Georgia, they, like I said, they have no standard, certainly not ours, not South Georgia. So I think that a conversational piece, a paragraph is something that mentions that variety of stuff, and to the extent that water does flow through and come from Georgia through here, that needs to be, I mean, for it to be intellectually honest, we have to focus on that point. Basically, when we talk about the state focus on environmental water, probably about a third of the state's focus is on Lake Okeechobee and cleaning up the glades and all that stuff. And there's, with the exception, I mean, help me, Teresa, if I'm misunderstanding, but when you get into the context of water standard, environment, the state is talking about Lake Okeechobee and cleaning up for new golf courses to get built down in Palm Beach County and so forth. Other than that, there's no unilateral standard environmental. It's like every community is on their own, period. So I'm looking forward to the comeback agenda item, and hopefully we will see the 100-year floodplain stuff in there, as well as the complications of Georgia with no standards coming into our community. We're right border to Georgia. And then looking at what Commissioner Dozier talked about, some platform with which we're communicating with area counties with respect to water and its flow, those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Proctor. All right, seeing how we have no other speakers in the queue, we'll vote on the motion, the substitute motion made by Commissioner Dozier, seconded by Commissioner Maddox. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed? The motion passes unanimously, 7-0. All right, commissioners, we do have a dinner break ready for us right now in the room back in the back. Why don't we go ahead and take a break? We'll reconvene at 6 p.m. sharp and start with the public hearing. How's that sound? All right. Thank you all very much.